guys, this is Andres Marcano.
And Alyssa Julio.
This is our podcast, Political Communicators, and today we're going to speak about the democratic political debate of September 12th.
Welcome. Today we'll be talking about the topics of healthcare, racism, prison reform, gun control, and immigration that were all discussed. And we're going to be giving basically what we took of it and how we feel, or what we think is going to become of these issues, and which candidates would be the best for each topic. So let's get started.
To start, let's begin with universal health care. In my perspective, I really like some of the points of the candidates, and some of them the ones who actually support universal health care. I think there's a bunch of countries out there that are like role models for this for
Medicare for all.
for medical for all, this model of health care. So between these points, I really like what Senator Sanders stand for. He believes in Medicare for all, and I totally agree with that. The only point that I have against his view of medical for all is that they're planning to shut down like the private insurance, and I don't think that's completely necessary, but I believe that we need to take a step forward and give access to everybody for healthcare. What do you think about
I
this
think that
topic?
there's a lot of examples in other countries that have shown that a democratic socialist form of healthcare is what's best for everybody in the country, not only in the country but foreigners who come. There's enough room for people in America to go to, say, England for help. If they were to go over there and break their leg, they can step into a hospital, get full treatment, get sent home with so much medicine for $6 and something cents, and no higher, no less than that. And they don't have to pay anything else but for the medication.
That's great.
There's so much proof of like countries showing that it does work, and people only want to compare it to countries where it's failed rather than the
Successful ones.
rather than the flourishing of
Yeah,
Europe.
like Norway, Canada.
Australia, France, Italy. There's so many like successful countries who have done it right, and we can follow. We can do it just as well.
For sure, I agree with that. I like what Senator Warren said too. She said that to reduce the cost of medical for all, we should raise the taxes for the 1%. These big companies that had a lot of money, the high class people, raise the taxes for them, not for the rest of the population, just for them. And with that income, be able to help the lower classes. I think that I completely agree with that. I think that
We need to take it from the people who can afford it, rather
Yes.
than making the working class, go absolutely broke over it.
for sure.
It won't affect the country if the elites are spreading and distributing their loads of wealth that really they're gonna die with so much wealth and pass on to the next generation.
And
I
they're
think-
gonna die with so much wealth
Yeah.
too. So it's like it's
Even
too
they're
much
gonna-
for
even their
them and their
grandkids will
families
die.
and grandkids. It's
I
like
don't think that it would really affect them if they paid just a little bit more to make
Yes.
sure that everybody in the country
Totally.
is flourishing. And I understand that I think Warren said in the debate that she's never met anybody who actually likes their insurance company.
That's true.
I mean, I've never heard anyone that likes their insurance company, but that's because I don't know anybody that's rich. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are going to oppose this idea who are completely content with their insurance companies and their private insurances because they're not going to want to have that luxury of
Totally.
everything that they're
Totally.
happy with just change and everybody have what they have. I don't think that they're going to be completely okay with everything being the same when they're still used to having everything better.
Another stuff that I agree with her is that the necessity of lowering the price and the cost of medical care for the people. In this point, Vice President Biden, he took a stand against it, but I think he looks at it from a perspective of someone with privilege, someone who has never struggled with all this kind of stuff. But from my perspective, and I have told this to my parents, if someday I get to be sick of cancer, I'm going to die of cancer. I'm not going to ruin my family economy just to save my life. And this can be like sound harsh, but for me it's a reality, and it's a reality that I know that many people out there go through. Not everybody has the resources to overcome these difficulties, and I believe that because of that, universal health care is a necessity.
That's something that if you don't understand, I feel like you don't have a open-minded view of it. I feel like you have rather a very privileged view.
Our next topic is racism. This is a huge issue and is in the foundations of this country. So it's not something new, it's something that has a long time with us, and it's necessarily to attend to this problem.
This is a life or death situation, and I really like the coverage that it got in the debate, because they took it as something that they've been planning, and like Buttigieg said that he's got a comprehensive plan already set up for how he's going to combat racism, and not just racism, but helping those POC in need to get what they need, like entrepreneurship. He's going to start these programs for them to get a step ahead and not fall behind because simply the color of their skin or the judgment they may get or the like barriers that they're going to come across. I think that who else said something good? It was Cory Booker about the White House Supremacy Office and the
Yes, Cory Booker said something really interesting, that it says that this problem is systematic. It is not something only of the prejudice of one person against the other, but it's in the way that this society has been built. And we have to change the foundations of how society was built to be able to get completely rid of racism.
Okay, our next topic that we're going to be talking about is prison reform.
That is completely related to racism. In this point, I remember that Senator Booker, Cory Booker, says that a person, Afro-American person, is 4 times more likely to be arrested than any other race, even though if they all carry drugs. So it's like there's a bunch of people that has been affected by racism and is paying crimes that are not
life or death. It's something that are things that are legal now, like marijuana.
Exactly.
There's too many, like in particular black men doing life for marijuana that people can just go in and buy now as if they're of age. And I think that if we can make marijuana legal, we can make the step of taking those lives who've been ruined out of jail. And this is a life or death situation because people are not only getting jailed for life, they're getting shot on like the streets. They're not having a chance to speak for themselves just because, they're wearing the wrong attire. It's like not even the wrong attire, just police not understanding. And I think that there's too many innocent people in jail, particularly minorities.
And the senators, they talk about different plans to start releasing these non-violent offenders, and I agree with that. That's a necessity too. I remember that one of them says that there's more black people in prison right now than the slaves that we had before here in America. So That's like alarming for me at least. And from all of that comes to the gun violence. There's so many officers, like my partner Alisa was saying, that shoot people just because of their color scheme, and that's a big huge issue in this country. And not only that, we have also the mass shootings. What do you think about these topics and how the senators and candidates answer to it?
Without a doubt, I don't think anybody should own any assault weapons. I completely agree with Bero's statement. It was, I think, hell yes, we are going to take your AR-15s and your AK-47s.
We're going to do it.
It's not in question. What I am questioning though is how he's going to do that. Because I completely support the we will, but I just want to know how he will get those to comply.
Well, I think it's a matter of
Because I'm pretty sure they would pay more to keep it than to
Yes.
sell it. So
Well-
I'm curious to find out.
he said that in this gun event that he went, there were a lot of people that support him, like, hey, I don't need this AK-47, I can come
Yeah.
with other weapons.
I've heard
So
that
in
too.
that aspect, I think that there's people that is willing to comply and, well, not comply, but to be part of it, of
Mhm.
this movement. That takes me to another stuff that Cory Booker said, that he said that he wants to attack this issue as a movement instead of like just passing laws and all of that. He said that there's a problem of empathy, and I think that's completely a huge truth that we are living right now. There's this lack of empathy, and like many of them said, we don't take actions until it happens in our community, and we shouldn't be like that. We should take action and prevent those situations from happening in
Yeah,
our
most
communities.
definitely.
Finally, this takes us to one other issue that has been in the news for a long time since President Trump took the presidency, that is immigration. What are your thoughts about immigration, Alyssa?
I'm not sure how to go about borders because I know that it would never be open borders, but I think
Mhm.
that we could do a lot to improve the system of how to get your papers and how to reach asylum. I think that to people who are
Totally.
rejected asylum, who are coming from countries like Syria in need of like salvation because
Yes.
of all the suffering that they're going through, and I don't think it's fair for us to turn them away. And I think that we can, not only that, when they're actually here, I think that we could do a lot more to make their process to getting citizenship a whole lot easier than taking what most people know as about 20 years, I think, for them to finally get their citizenship.
Yes.
It's such
It's
a
hard.
it makes
It's a
you
hard.
not even want to
Mhm.
get your citizenship,
Of
but you have
course.
no choice. So there's something that we need to do about the process.
Totally. I like that many of them addressed this issue and said that there was this statistic of 1 million immigrants entering United States each year, and many of them says that they want to create a path for these million immigrants entering the country each year to be residents or citizens in the long run.
Yeah, like
But-
Elizabeth Warren said.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Warren said another important stuff. While doing this is not only accepting people. She said something important too. That is like help countries in the third world to
Strengthen the
improve
world.
their countries, their situation, so people doesn't have to run from these places and they could still have their homeland and not necessarily come to this country and look of better opportunities and quality of life.
Yeah, we've got the resources to help the world, but if we help their countries, we're not going to have to, I'm going to say have to worry about helping them, but they wouldn't have to worry about running away from their problems.
Totally. And well, with this, we conclude our podcast. I hope that you enjoy it and get something good out of it. And I know it's a little short, there's a lot more to talk, but that would be for our next podcast. So stay
Stay tuned.
stay tuned to our channel. See you guys.